Chapter 526 Busi's death. All these dead people were soul engineers. Even though they were able to utilize soul tools to enhance their fighting abilities to a level which could rival a titled Douluo, their body's toughness was incomparable to a titled Douluo's. Hence, a lot of them perished immediately after Busi released his power. However, they were not the only ones who were affected by Busi. Even the dragon god Douluo, Longxiao, found himself rapidly descending after Busi released his power. He was in disbelief as he tried to steady his body. Busi, are you crazy? You actually ignited your own fire of life? This will detonate your soul core. Busi's eerie laughter vanished as he said coldly, "That's exactly what I want to do. I want to detonate my soul core and take all of you cursed people of the Sun Moon Empire down to hell with me. Listen to me, hypocrite. I am not afraid of death. I just want to see how the Sun Moon Empire can attack my homeland, the Heavenly Soul Empire, after everyone present dies with me. Ha 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 ha." Longxiao was shocked by Busi's words. He had not expected Busi to make such a brutal decision. There was not a single person who was not afraid of death. In fact, the stronger a person was, the likelier he or she feared death. After all, only the strong and powerful could enjoy this world. When one had attained the ultimate Douluo rank or was close to it, one could live beyond 300 years if nothing unfortunate were to happen. Because Busi was the sect leader of the body sect and was responsible for protecting it, Longxiao did not expect him to choose to ignite his fire of life at this moment. One must understand that the intensity of the fire of life was proportional to the strength of the Soul Master. As the intensity of the fire of life increased, it would become harder to douse it. Such irreversible scenarios would definitely result in the death of the Soul Master. At the same time, this would enhance the Soul Master's abilities to an unprecedented level. At that very instant when Busi ignited his fire of life, his cultivation level had been forced to an ultimate Douluo's level, and as the fire continued to rage, he was about to become stronger because he had already ignited his fire of life. Busi no longer had any reservations or worries. Once the fire of life had finished burning, it would start to disrupt his soul core. That soul core belonged to a rank 98 titled Douluo. One could only imagine how powerful the explosion would be. There were millions of lives beneath them. Once his soul core exploded, every life below them would be ravaged. From the above, it was clear why titled Douluo was strategic pillars of strength for every empire. They possessed too much destructive power to be allowed to turn crazy and wreak havoc as they pleased. As soul tool technology improved in the Sun Moon Empire, some of them had started to disregard the abilities of soul masters. However, Busi was about to give them a timely reminder of the invincible power of soul masters by burning his fire of life. At this moment, he was like an unbelievably powerful, unstoppable class 10 stationary soul cannon shell. Even though Huo Yuao was very far from them, he noticed the change the moment Busi started burning his fire of life. When he saw Busi grow to about 1,000 meters tall, Huo Yuao became very worried. I can't believe he's actually planning to do this. Now it makes perfect sense why he would hand the secrets of the body over to me. He didn't want it to vanish with his death. Huo Yuao gave a bitter smile. Tang Wutong frowned. Doesn't he know that his actions will end millions of innocent lives? He's really... Huo Yuao sighed before replying. The collapse of the empire must have hit him really hard. Even Shu Tianran probably didn't expect his grand sacrificial ceremony to become the stage for Busi's self-sacrifice. Huo Yuao really wanted to stop Busi from sacrificing his life, but he did not possess the ability to do so. No one present could stop a rank 98 transcendent Douluo who had ignited his fire of life. Even the Darkness Holy Dragon, an ultimate Douluo, would not be able to do so. However, Huo Yuao's expression suddenly changed as he recalled something. Wait a minute. Something's wrong. I have to head over there right away. Wutong, I need you to wait for me here. Following which, Huo Yuao let go of Wutong's hand as he got ready to move towards Busi. Tang Wutong grabbed hold of him and asked frantically, "What are you doing? Do you want to die? There are so many powerful individuals from the Sun Moon Empire over there. There's no way we can stop Busi." Huo Yuao replied anxiously, "No, I'm not going to try and stop him. I understand that his move is too extreme, but Busi has missed something important." It took a while before Tang Wutong understood what Huo Yuao meant. "Are you thinking what I am thinking?" Huo Yuao nodded fervently. "Yes. I'm referring to the Holy Ghost Church. They are well versed in many dark arts which pertain to souls and the dead spirits. If Busi were to detonate his own soul core, it would cause an unprecedented massacre. This catastrophic outcome would only strengthen the Holy Ghost Church. If they were to acquire millions of souls, I have no idea how strong they will become. That's why I must make my way over there to either purify or lead the souls away if an explosion is to happen. But this is too dangerous." Tang Wutong naturally understood Huo Yuao's considerations, but she did not loosen her grip on him. Huo Yuao turned his head and gazed deeply into Tang Wutong's eyes. Suddenly, he hugged her tightly before giving her an intense kiss. Tang Wutong was taken aback by his kiss, following which, the strong golden seal shone before tossing Huo Yuao away from her. "Wutong, wait for me." Aided by the momentum given by the seal, Huo Yuao transformed into comet as he flew towards the southern region of Radiant City. As a man, there are certain things I must do. If I were to allow the Holy Ghost Church to become even stronger, an unbelievably scary future awaits all of us. In fact, it would be even worse than the Sun Moon Empire taking over the world, and that was why he had to go. Seeing how Busi could no longer be persuaded from his course of action, Longxiao shook his head as his body expanded against the wind. He transformed into a dragon that was more than 500 meters long, following which, he swung his dragon tail towards Busi aggressively. Longxiao was enraged by Busi's intent for heedless killing. He knew he had to stop him, and could not allow him to detonate his soul core. Meanwhile, at the Sun Moon sacrificial altar, Shu Tianran appeared to have regained his calm. He slowly strolled down from the 7th floor to Busi's side, following which, he raised his hand and said calmly, "Get ready to activate the high energy beam, Your Majesty." A tall old man with graying hair walked towards Shu Tianran with an unwilling look on his face. Shu Tianran looked at him seriously before saying, "Dean, I am the leader of our country. If I can't even protect my own people, I will have failed as our leader. Without my people or their support, there is no point in me being king or emperor. There will be no point in conquering this world at all." The old man replied in a deep voice, "But once we activate the high energy beams, everything we have been preparing for will go down the drain. We will probably be unable to recover all the accumulated energies for a couple of decades. We would have no choice but to terminate our research." Shu Tianran gave him a cold stare as he replied, "Dean, do you think I don't know what is more important? Looking at how things are, we have no choice but to set whatever research we are doing aside for now." The old man argued, "But there's still the Holy Ghost Church. They belong to our empire, and would probably be very helpful when it comes to reducing costs and damages if they were willing to put in 100% and help us." Shu Tianran burst into laughter, but his eyes were still ice cold. "You want them to lend us a hand? If they were willing, they would have done so long ago. After all, the Darkness Holy Dragon is an exception. He was never fully controlled by the Holy Ghost Church. And where is the Holy Ghost Church now? They are waiting for a chance. They can't wait for Busi to detonate his soul core and kill everyone. When that happens, imagine how powerful they will become with their newly acquired millions of souls. Do you think I would still be the leader of this country when that happened? Dean, you can rest assured that your research will be set aside once they take over the Sun Moon Empire. They will definitely not allow powerful weapons to exist and threaten them. Now go on and set everything up." The old man went silent. As he looked up and stared at the battle between the giant and the huge dragon, he felt a deep sense of resentment within him. Nonetheless, he relented with a long sigh before leaving. "Your Majesty." Juzi purred as she grabbed his hand. Shu Tianran appeared to be at ease as he held her hand tightly. It seemed as though everything was under control. He was not making any preparations for any form of an emergency evacuation. However, Juzi's hand was in pain as he tightened his grip. As the battle in the air grew increasingly intense, Busi was somehow able to suppress the Darkness Holy Dragon under the enhancement from his burning fire of life. However, the battles around them had paused. The 4 transcendent Douluo who had been creating chaos had long disappeared. It was impossible to catch a transcendent Douluo who was determined to escape unless one had an intricate plan set up in advance. The purple flames on Busi's body were getting very intense. Longxiao arched his head upwards and released a dragon's roar. The sound of his roar tore through the sky, as though he was calling for something. However, no matter how he roared, there did not seem to be a returning echo. As the battle raged on, the flames on Busi's body burned brighter and stronger. The sky seemed to be turning back and forth under the interchanging streaks of black and purple. The slaughter which was going on at ground level previously and the battle which was going on in the sky had created mass hysteria amongst the public. Fortunately, a huge army had been drafted especially for the grand sacrificial ceremony. Under the control of the army and their soul tools, the 4 transcendent Douluo had been chased away, and the situation had temporarily been transformed for the better. However, in that short period of time, tens of thousands of civilians had already been killed. In the distance, "Mother, are we really not going to go there and help Uncle?" Zhong Luwu, who was dressed in a full-length black robe, asked the pale Yu Shishui silently. "Of course not. The tens of thousands of souls which we managed to reap earlier are barely enough to replenish what was depleted from the death god pagoda previously. Why should we stop Busi? Long Xiaya is a smart man. He knows when to give up and leave. Yi Shishui gave the plainest reply possible. It was impossible to see any emotions in her eyes. I understand. Douluo did not dare to add anything else, even though he was the actual supreme leader of the Holy Ghost Church. Everyone knew who called the shots. As she watched the battle which was going on in midair, Yi Shishui remained extremely calm. A faint blood-red color occasionally flickered in her eyes. A large group of powerful cultivators from the Holy Ghost Church stood behind them. They had all gathered here and waited silently for instructions not long after Busi had emerged. Yi Shishui definitely knew what her son was worried about. Her son feared that Long Xiaya might be angered by what had just unfolded. She also knew that Long Xiaya was calling for her. If she joined in the battle and helped Long Xiaya subdue Busi, he might just be unable to detonate his soul core. However, why must I stop him? The deaths of millions of civilians would only be beneficial for the Holy Ghost Church. As a person who was only concerned about her interests, she would definitely not stop Busi. Long Xiaya. As the battle grew in intensity, the flames on Busi's body seemed to become material. Long Xiaya could no longer do anything about his mad attacks. All he could do was to try and stop Busi from descending. Long Xiaya, do you really think you can stop me? Stop shouting for her. Since I have dared to come today, I have already thought of everything. She won't be coming to help you. Busi let out a burst of eerie laughter. Long Xiaya was taken aback by his words. He had a strange realization that Busi might not be as mad as he seemed. Busi, why must you do this? Do you really think you can kill Shu Tianran like this? He has so many class 9 soul engineers defending him. Even if your self-destruction is super strong, it won't be enough to kill him. The shield above the sun moon sacrificial altar alone is enough to shave off half of the impact from your self-destruction. Slaughtering millions of lives will only do the Holy Ghost Church good. You are just helping them become stronger. It's not too late to stop. I can still help you to douse your burning fire of life and help you leave. How does that sound? Long Xiaya was very clear with his words, but Busi continued to laugh. In fact, he seemed very happy about something. Suddenly, Busi's voice became very soft. His words could only reverberate within Long Xiaya's ears. My old pal, of course, I know what you're talking about. We have both lived for over 200 years. Why would I not be able to consider that things that you've said? Our thinking is just very different. I can see that you are still a person with a heart. If not, you would never have turned up here. The truth is my action is but a small part of the entire operation. Do you really think I want to die? Of course not. But I have already sustained certain injuries which I cannot recover from back when I fended off the invaders from the Sun Moon Empire previously. I am already too old. Just like Mu En who was just living out his life after sustaining a serious injury. I can feel my own abilities deteriorating every day. Let's not talk about becoming an ultimate Douluo. I'm not even confident of remaining a transcendent Douluo in a few years' time. I have at most 10 more years to live. 10 years is a long enough time for a normal human. But for people like us, it is nothing. That's why I would rather not have these 10 years. The most heroic death for a soul master is to die before the eyes of the public. In fact, I have already won. Do you know that? Even though Long Xiao was staring at Busi and listening to his words, both of them were still entangled in battle. However, there was no hatred or anger in his eyes. What remained was nothing but sorrow and melancholy. Is another person from my times really about to die? It was almost as if Busi had finally found someone to converse with him as he continued. My appearance today is part of a carefully crafted plan. There's no chance of me dying in vain. In my eyes, since I am about to die, the rules no longer mean anything. Do you really think the millions of lives below us can be so easily taken away? You have spent a fair bit of time in the Sun Moon Empire. Do you really not know what trump cards they're hiding under their sleeves? They will definitely try their best to protect their people. If not, the millions of deaths would shake the foundation of Shu Tianran's rule. But whatever trump cards they deploy will most definitely take a lot out of them. In the future, when they have to face the other nations, they will definitely be a lot weaker. This is my first objective. As long as Shu Tianran isn't mentally retarded, he will definitely help me achieve it. My second objective is naturally you. I knew Yi Shishui would definitely not come after starting this commotion. However, I was sure you would. I was purposely shouting around in that manner previously to attract someone else's attention. Do you really think I still don't know you well enough? You must have a reason for staying around her. I don't want to know the exact reason. All I know is that now that you are on the opposing side, you won't feel too good after I die. I don't think you can deny that, right? My third objective pertains to Yi Shishui. She must be lurking around somewhere with her disciples and grand disciples, waiting to pounce in and reap the fruits of our hard work. The sheer number of souls from the dead people would be too enticing for them to turn down. I have considered how they would not be able to resist this temptation before deciding to do what I am doing now. I have now successfully drawn Yi Shishui and her underlings here. The greed of evil soul masters will be their downfall. Once I am done with my 3 objectives, I can allow my old body to die. I am not the only one here this time around. Once my objectives have been achieved, the remaining ones will naturally be accomplished by the others. I have already attracted enough firepower, right? Ha ha ha. After hearing Busi's words, Long Xiaya became very quiet. Busi has really drafted a very well-crafted plan this time round. He has managed to predict how we would all act. Shu Tianran, Yi Shishui, and me. All of us. It was because he had already known how they would all act based on how events would unfold that he was willing to give up his life to gather everyone here. But then what is his true objective? Long Xiaya, I have always been very easygoing and carefree all my life. Failing to defeat Mu En is one of the biggest regrets in my life. However, I have managed to live longer than him. In the future, if you want to describe me as a despicable person, I will gladly accept it as praise from you. Time is almost up. I want you to help me see how big an explosion I can create with my abilities. Oh yes, I actually have a 4th objective. I want to assassinate Shu Tianran. No matter whether I succeed or not, I want to try. If not, how can I rest in peace, right? After finishing his sentence, Busi suddenly burst into a fit of mad laughter, following which, his body suddenly froze in midair. It was as if the entire sky had frozen, and all the energy pulses stopped at this very instant. Even Long Xiaya was no exception. Just as Long Xiaya's eyes widened in shock, a dense layer of black started to vanish in the next instant. A mysterious ring of silver white light started to appear around him. That ring of white light rubbed and collided against the static space around it vigorously. Busi revealed a sly smile as he took a last look at Long Xiaya, following which, his 1,000-meter tall body shrank rapidly towards the center of his stomach. At that very instant, it was as if a black hole had formed in the middle of the sky. Copious amounts of natural chi of heaven and earth gravitated towards the center of the black hole. Because of how suddenly Busi's body had shrunk, everyone present, including the millions of civilians of the Sun Moon Empire, felt as if they were being sucked by something in the air. The tens of thousands of people that were closer to the Sun Moon sacrificial altar were even lifted into the air by the force of attraction. Their feet left the ground as they floated a couple of meters into the air. Just when some of these people started to regain their composure, chaos broke loose again as screams and shouts could be heard everywhere as they tried to struggle against the force of attraction. Busi had vanished, and what had replaced him was a huge piece of crystal, entirely jade green, and radiating a jade green glow onto its pitch black surroundings. It seemed as though it could swallow all the darkness around it. Even the silver glow from Long Xiaya's body was being consumed by it. Long Xiaya revealed a bitter smile. You are truly remarkable. He could sense this soul core had been enhanced to the level that belonged to an ultimate Douluo. The only difference was how an ultimate Douluo had 2 soul cores, and Busi only had 1. Busi had burned all of his power and energy, including his soul. At this very instant, everything turned silent, but it was merely the calm before the impending storm. Is it coming now? Everyone stopped breathing as they looked up into the sky. They could sense that a catastrophe was about to hit them. However, at this very instant, the air in the direction of Radiant City suddenly became illuminated. 4 gentle white beams of light shot up into the sky without any warning. These 4 pillars of light were initially not particularly noticeable. They were only as thick as water pails, but they immediately began to expand at an unbelievable rate. Very soon, these 4 beams had a diameter of over 100 meters as they pierced deep into the sky, their powerful light unimpeded by the grey clouds. The energy bound within the jade green soul core seemed to be agitated by the white light, as it started to emit a low humming sound. The space around the soul core started to show signs of cracking. Even though Shu Tianran was still affected by Busi's soul core, he was still able to move around under the protection from the golden shield above the Sun Moon sacrificial altar. As he reascended to the 7th floor of the sacrificial altar, he pointed at the sky with his right hand as a long golden sword appeared in his hand, following which which, his bright voice echoed into the distance within the Sun Moon Empire. I have been doted upon by the heavens, and have since inherited this throne. May the heavens above us protect the citizens of the Sun Moon Empire against whoever might dare to challenge their fury. Today, I shall borrow the power of the heavens and suppress whoever threatens our way of living. He or she shall perish, never to be reborn. May the light of our Sun Moon Empire shine upon our land forever and always. At the very next instant, Shu Tianran's body started to radiate a golden glow. A cold and sullen look formed on his face as a bolt of purple lightning emerged from his body. Suddenly, his body started to emit a purple gold flash, which contrasted against the dark skies as he became the center of attention. With his sword pointed towards the sky, he made a waving motion as though he were commanding something, following which, the 4 humongous beams of light in the distance suddenly left their original path as they started to bend and shoot across the Sun Moon sacrificial altar. Even though Busi's soul core had locked up the surrounding space, it was useless against the 4 gigantic beams of light, which spread out and became a gigantic horizontal barrier. At this very instant, the charging of the soul core seemed to have ended, and it started to plunge toward the Sun Moon sacrificial altar. A piercing white light flashed as the barrier formed just in time to envelope the millions of lives below it, including half of the radiant city, which was not too far away. Chink. This bright ringing sound would be a sound which the millions of lives would never forget. At this very instant, the world's time and space came to a standstill. This time round, even Shu Tianran, who was standing within the barrier, stopped moving. Boom. A jade green glow started to expand as huge patches of darkness bloomed behind it. This time around, they did not come in the form of dark clouds. It was almost as if night had descended upon the world. There seemed to be countless stars and constellations in the sky, but there was definitely more darkness in the sky, which appeared to be consuming everything in its way. The huge white barrier started to tremble as its powerful glow started to quiver under the pressure from the jade green glow. The overwhelming pressure from the jade green glow, which seemed like the heavenly might, started to increase to its maximum. Shu Tianran started to show signs of unease and disbelief. As he stood firm to withstand the immense pressure coming from above him, he started to find it difficult to breathe. Shu Tianran's 9 soul rings started to rise as a giant purple dragon, his martial soul, took form behind his back. That was his true strength. 9 rings. The emperor of the Sun Moon Empire might be around 30 years old, but he was already a titled Douluo. Furthermore, he owned a powerful martial soul, a purple brilliant heaven-destroying dragon. As he focused and directed his energies into the sky, his powerful abilities were now fully revealed. However, he faced heavenly might summoned by Busi. Nevertheless, the jade green glow was still kept outside by the enhanced white barrier. However, Shu Tianran, who had been proudly standing above the Sun Moon sacrificial altar, started to vomit blood as he collapsed onto the ground. Boom. The deafening sound echoed for several moments before it stopped. Beneath the Sun Moon sacrificial altar, the civilians who were suspended in midair fell down as chaos broke out within the city. The scary explosion left behind a sky filled with blazing white light. Huge waves of soul power rippled across the sky, traveling more than 100 miles away and shaving the peaks off the mountains nearest to the city. Your Majesty. Busi was the first to get to the Sun Moon sacrificial altar. Just now, at the moment right before the huge explosion hit the barrier, she felt as if her throat had been ensnared in someone's grip. Because she was the nearest to the 7th floor, she could feel the direct impact. Shu Tianran's heavy injury was not a result of Busi's mad soul core explosion, but the effects of his thoughts, which had manifested in the form of heavenly might. Yes, the soul core explosion was indiscriminate, but its attack on everything around it was blocked by the mystical power originating from Radiant City. However, after the explosion had begun, Busi's purest desire to murder Shu Tianran penetrated through the 2 defense lines and landed on Shu Tianran. The self-destruction of an ultimate Douluo was simply this frightening. If Shu Tianran had not achieved the rank of a titled Douluo, his soul would have been shattered into a million pieces. Busi had achieved all 4 of his objectives, just as he had promised before his death. Even though he had pretended to be the Bakir, the real target had always been to destroy Shu Tianran. Busi hugged Shu Tianran as she frantically attempted to inject her soul power into his body. However, she found much to her surprise that she was unable to do so. There was a serious conflict between Busi's mad spiritual power and Shu Tianran's own spiritual power within his body. They were like fire and water, unaccommodating towards one another. Because of this battle which was raging within Shu Tianran's body, his mouth and nose started to bleed as his face became increasingly pale. Right now, Busi demonstrated her ability as the war god empress to stay calm in tense situations. She immediately scooped Shu Tianran from the ground and retrieved his sound amplifying soul tool. She announced, "My dear people, our emperor had used himself as the conduit to draw upon the power of the heavens to destroy our enemy. While the enemy has died, our emperor has also sustained some injuries. I, as the war god empress appointed by the emperor himself, promise that as long as the emperor and I are around, we can definitely safeguard the prosperity of our Sun Moon Empire. Our emperor has only sustained some minor injuries. All of you can rest assured that he will be fine. Now, please follow the army's orders and return to Radiant City. Anyone who dares to make trouble shall face the death penalty." The chaos outside subsided after the people heard Busi's words. God of war, God of war, God of war. The army suddenly started to cheer in unison. Their united cheering covered the chaotic noise in the city. As the empress and goddess of war of the Sun Moon Empire, Busi's position in the army had long been elevated to that of a military idol. Under Shu Tianran's designs, her reputation had long surpassed that of its most important generals. After hearing her words, the soldiers in the army released a celebratory cheer that came from the bottom of their hearts. After all, an impending disaster had just been stopped by their emperor. At this moment, the civilians started to calm down as they started to join in the cheers. No matter what, even though the grand sacrificial ceremony had been disrupted, millions of civilians had witnessed something awe-inspiring. At least in their eyes, justice had triumphed over evil, and evil had been vanquished. As the dark clouds in the sky slowly scattered, the land was once again irradiated with warm sunlight. Everything, including Long Xiaya, which was previously in the sky, had disappeared. Huo Yuao had observed the progression of events from afar. He was overwhelmed with sadness after witnessing the death of Busi. Even though he did not understand his objectives and had only interacted with him a few times, Huo Yuao had seen how he had detonated his own soul core for his country. How could he not feel sad for him? Furthermore, the secrets of the body were still with him. Huo Yuao lowered his body and bowed solemnly at the sky, which was beginning to clear up. Busi, regardless of what has happened, you are undeniably a hero for your country and its people. I will definitely bring your heroic stories back to the Heavenly Soul Empire. I will also pass on your secrets of the body. You can rest assured that I will do my best to bring the rest away. Without the catastrophe and countless deaths that Huo Yuao had expected, he naturally had no need to purify any souls. He did not know when Tang Wutong appeared by his side. As he looked at her, Huo Yuao felt guilty about what he had done earlier. Wutong, I am sorry. I was rash again. Tang Wutong stepped forward and held his hand. I understand. There's nothing inherently wrong with what you did, but next time, do not leave me behind. I want to be with you regardless of whether we live or die. As long as we are together, we will have better odds of surviving anything. Huo Yuao held her hand tightly and replied, "Let's head to the meeting point. If I did not guess wrongly, Busi's sacrifice was meant to pin down the enemies near the sacrificial altar. This would probably mean that the Heavenly Sun Douluo's side should almost be done. Let's meet up with them and return to the Heavenly Soul Empire." Both of them leapt up into the air and disappeared into the sky as they flew towards the pre-planned meeting point. It was undeniable that Busi's death was a brilliant move. The leaders of Radiant City were all busy trying to maintain order after the explosion, and did not have the time to bother with anything else. Because the emperor was heavily injured, the Sun Moon Empire lacked a leader who could organize the country. It was the best time to leave the scene under such chaotic conditions. Just now, he had managed to catch a glimpse of the Sun Moon Empire's war god empress, Busi. She had become a lot more elegant and beautiful. Busi, you will probably be heading back onto the battlefield in the near future. Do you know how much I wish we won't meet on the battlefield? The meeting point was at the suburban area of the Eastern District. This place was nearest to the Dalu Empire. Huo Yuao had originally thought that the plan to misdirect them was a little too simple, but after he saw how Busi detonated his soul core, he realized how carefully crafted the plan was. By the time Huo Yuao and Tang Wutong reached the meeting point, there were already 4 titled Douluo waiting there. All of them were transcendent Douluo and did not seem particularly pleased with what had just happened. 2 of them happened to hail from the body sect, and they had obviously witnessed Busi's self-destruction. My condolences. There was nothing else Huo Yuao could say as he dragged Tang Wutong to retreat to a corner. The atmosphere was simply too suffocating. After witnessing one of the most powerful and revered cultivators in the world of Soul Masters fall, they were all still trying to grapple with what had just happened. It was a huge blow for everyone. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.